Now we're going to look at the remaining ancient civilizations. First place we're going to look at is Egypt. So here is a map of Egypt. Egyptian civilization forms around the Nile River. That is their fertile river valley. The Nile River runs 4,000 miles long through North Africa. Now, the Nile River is different from the rivers of Mesopotamia, the Tigris and the Euphrates, because the Nile River floods predictably every year. So the Egyptians knew exactly when the Nile River was going to flood. And this is important. It's important because they know now, or they knew when to plant their crops and when to stay away from the river. So they didn't have the threat of losing their year's food supply. And so this is different from Mesopotamia because the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers flooded unpredictably. Now, Egyptian civilization formed around the delta. The delta is where the river empties into a major body of water. And this is also where the richest soil is found. Okay, delta is also known as the mouth of the river. So if we were to go back and look at this map of Egypt, we can see the Nile River delta. So the Nile River is going to flow towards the Mediterranean Sea, and you see where it forks right here, this triangular area, this is the delta. So all of the fertile soil and silt and everything is flowing down the river towards the Mediterranean Sea, is going to be deposited right here. So this is where the richest soil is going to be found, and this is going to be the best area to grow crops and for agriculture. Now, the Nile River also provides protection. Okay, cataracts offer protection for Egypt. All cataracts are just stretches of the river that have large boulders and rocks, very fast currents and rapids, making it very hard for people to travel up the river. And so this offers protection for the Egyptian civilization from the south. Now, Egypt also is protected by the Sahara Desert, which is the world's largest desert, okay, which pretty much encompasses all of North Africa. And so not only are the Egyptians protected by the desert, okay, but they're also protected by the Nile River. Next place we're going to look at is India. Here's a map of India. Now you'll notice that there are some different color arrows on this map, okay, and they're there for a specific reason. Now, Indian civilization develops along the Indus and the Ganges rivers. Now, yes, they have two rivers, but they're unlike the rivers of Mesopotamia because they're not close together. They're completely separate. These arrows depict the monsoon winds. Okay, the blue arrows depict the winter monsoons, which bring cold, dry air down from the Himalayan mountains. These reddish pink arrows depict the summer monsoons, which bring warm, wet air to India. And this warm, wet air is going to cause these rivers to flood. India is also considered a subcontinent. India is a part of Asia, however, because of its geographical features, it is cut off from the continent, making it independent. So if we go back again and take a look at the map, we see very tall mountain ranges. We see the Himalayan mountains, okay, and then we have the Hindu Kush mountains over here. So India is pretty much cut off from the rest of Asia because of these mountains. The Indus and the Ganges River flood, providing fertile soil. They flood during the summer monsoons, which bring those rains. To the north, they have the Himalayan and the Hindu Kush mountains, which provide protection. And in the south, you have the Deccan Plateau, which is a desert that also provides protection. Next, we're going to look at China. There's a map of China. Chinese civilizations began between the Wanghe, or the Yellow River, and the Yangtze River. The Plateau of Tibet provided the fertile soil. To the west, you have the Himalayan mountains and the Gobi Desert, which provide protection. Next place we're going to take a look at is Greece. Now, Greece is different. Okay, as you can see, Greece is made up of several islands. Okay, and their geography is not going to allow for very good agriculture. So Greece was located in the northwest of the Mediterranean Sea on the continent of Europe. Greece had poor soil and few natural resources, so this did not allow them to have successful farming. But due to their location on the Mediterranean Sea, it allows them to turn to trade, and it allows them to become very successful. Greece has a very diverse geography. Some areas are very hilly, others are mountainous, breaking it up into independent city-states. So due to their geography, where you see all of these little red dots, these are independent city-states. So these city-states are going to develop by themselves. They're going to have their own form of government, their own way of life. So for example, Athens, the Athenians are going to focus more on education and philosophy, while people down here in Sparta are going to focus more on military and warfare. So all because of the geography. It is not easy for these city-states to get together, okay, because of the hills and the mountains and because of the islands, okay, so they form independently. Next place is Rome. As you can see, Rome develops along the Italian peninsula, along the Adriatic Sea, the Ionian Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea. Very good location for civilization to develop. Along the north, you have the Alps, pretty much cuts off the Italian peninsula from everybody else, so you have good protection. You also have very good climate because of the location on the seas. Rome has several geographical advantages that we just talked about. Located on a peninsula, surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea, offers protection, offers a good climate as well. To the north it is protected by the Alps. Okay, the Alps mountains offer protection. And Rome is founded on the Tiber River, which provides that fertile soil. Okay, and because of the Mediterranean Sea and their location, they have a very mild climate. So not only does Rome have agriculture and successful farming, but they also have trade due to their location on the Mediterranean Sea. Muslim civilizations. Muslim civilizations are going to develop along the Arabian Peninsula. Now, this area consists of very harsh land with a desert interior, the Arabian Desert. Okay, so this limits their farming. However, all of the major trade routes of the world converged at the Arabian Peninsula. And so this causes Muslim civilizations to develop an economy based off of trade. And this is how they're able to influence many people of the ancient world, because all the world's ancient trade routes, if we take a look right here, here's where the Muslim civilizations develop. Okay, this is all the ancient world. So trade routes from Asia are going to come through here. Trade routes from Europe are going to come through here. Trade routes from Africa come through here. So all the world's trade routes converge right here along the Arabian Peninsula. And this allows Muslim civilization to develop an economy based off of trade, and allows them to influence a lot of different people through that trade. And the last place where we will talk about is Africa. As you can see, Africa has a very diverse geography. Okay, so this is going to cause the people of Africa to develop differently. People of Northern Africa are going to develop differently than people in the center of Africa in the rainforest. So taking a look at Africa's geography is made up of savannas. This is where you find most of the animals, the grasslands. So if you think of like the Lion King, this is where most of the animals are. Plateaus, Great Rift Valley, and the mountains, these are mainly in the east. You have deserts not only in the north with the Sahara, but you have deserts elsewhere as well. And the rainforest mostly along the equator, along the central part of Africa. And then you have coastal plains along mainly the southern tip of Africa and along the Mediterranean Sea in the north. So all of this diverse geography allows for the people to develop very independently and very differently from one another as well.